everyone, welcome back to my Let's Play of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, I believe, what's it called? The omnibus was set on fire, right? And someone was trapped inside. Oh, and here we go back into it, the adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Let's go.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so we left off, and I believe someone was trapped inside the omnibus, and it was on fire, right? Just at the end of that case, and McGilded got off scot-free, even though we're pretty sure he was guilty by the end of it. I think that's sort of the vibe we were getting, right? I don't know who was trapped inside of it. I guess we're going to find out, but that was kind of scary. I remember ending with that cutscene, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, sure. But yeah, so I wanted to start on the home screen just in case we want to do a cutscene just like we just did. But I want to say thank you guys so much for your continued support of the series. I hope you're still having fun. I am super excited to keep going. We're already in case 4, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how many there are. Typically, there's, I think, 5 or 6 in a Ace Attorney game. So we could be nearing the end or past the halfway point, I guess. But they tend to get longer and more convoluted as time goes on, I've found. And I'm interested to see if we somehow get to, I don't know, face off with McGilded again and prove his guilt. Maybe he was the one trapped inside the omnibus. I don't know. So anyways, too much speculating. Let's go in. 19th of February, 9:47 a.m., British Supreme Court Lord Chief Justice's office. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious. I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gaslights twinkling, it was brighter than day even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time in the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes. It really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Good morning to you at this early hour. Is it what's-his-face? Ah, there he is. Oh, yes, we were, well. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Start of Sound is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Stronghart. I forget what voice I gave him. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Stronghart— ooh, sorry, my volume is really loud in my ear— Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. Just like that. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? Bro, I don't like this threatening tone. It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Okay, wait, but who burned in the omnibus? Bang, bang, boom! Not guilty! The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't ask for a better defense. Bro, that does not make me feel good. This bitch. Please tell me he burned in the omnibus. Wow, Luigi. That's kind of the voice I've given him, isn't it? Whoops. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo! It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needed to let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Stronghart? Did he burn? Do we know? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead? The birds fly. Yo, he was totally in it, in the what the heck, omnibus. I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. He burned like a potato. Roasted. McGilded's death. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yeah, I know. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? Yeah, well, clearly the guards aren't very good because it got messed with during the trial and then set on fire. That is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. Yeah. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Yeah. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Yeah, probably to change more evidence, that little conniving hoodwink. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're gonna examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. Yeah, well, signed your death warrant, I don't know. An inspection of the omnibus. My voice. Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Obviously the person who wanted him to die. That is a case! Wow, no! What do you mean, never mind? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGilded. I mean, he was kind of a trash bag, but I don't think he deserved to burn, you know what I mean? Like, British court. Why is everything so jank? So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, the 6-juror system is shit. I don't know, I mean, it was wow. Constantly having them go, guilty, not guilty, guilty, not guilty with the fire was great. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Suzaru-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Are you psychic? The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. Yeah, I know what we shouldn't do is have a jury of 6 random people who don't know what they're doing. The most advanced in the world, is it? Sure, it was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? Oh, hold on. I'm downloading Valorant to play it tonight with my friends, and it just popped up on my screen. Hello, can you please close? Thank you, bye. Alright, cool. Hopefully that didn't mess up the recording. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Stronghart, but the case was anything but simple. Yeah. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Did he mess with it? Yo. Wait, I don't trust this. This guy seems shady. Like, I know I compared him to that one Ace Attorney guy back in the day, but he is like, I don't know. Something is sketch with him. Like, whatever Cosmo was sent here to do, you know what I mean? Like, something seems off. It is bothering me a lot. Hehehe. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. Yeah, and that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Or someone messing with the crime scene? Well, I don't know about that. I'm just humble, sir. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much at least is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he gonna say before? Yeah, bro, I know. New case. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. Thank God. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died, as yet. Okay. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. That hair, though. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. Huh. So the trial's tomorrow, then. But no one's died. Is everything all right? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... Well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. Ah yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. A knife! Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Wait, so no one died, but they're still gonna get the death penalty? What do you mean? Yes, that's right. Here we go again! Wait, what did the person do then? Snap, crackle, pop! Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. Bro, I don't trust you. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. Yeah, he's my broham, of course. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing. Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He, never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. Yeah, well, he loved me more, Susato. I don't know what to tell you. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. Oh, I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. Lestrade, is that you? He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? Is he holding fish and chips? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. Goodbye, shady man. Ah, don't be sad, Susato. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. Hey, Lestrade. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Is he holding chips? What is he? Hello? Hi. Could we trouble you? What voice do I want to give you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know. Ugh, but Susanna-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. I'm scared of you. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, huh? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue. It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? He looks so aggressive. Yeah, suck it! It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. I can't talk. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? So, Lord Stronghart has asked me to fill you in on the case. Ah, the name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Yo, it's definitely a reference to... Isn't his name Greg Lestrade in Sherlock Holmes stories? Greg? I think it's Greg. Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector Gregson. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? Are those French fries? I can't tell. You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ranced Magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Why couldn't I read that? Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes. That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. I gotta make him a little gruffer. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. Thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? Huh. I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. I don't know what that means. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps the sudden rise to fame does change people. Ah, here we go. The case. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. My voice. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means it's batshit crazy. And as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. The young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in a hospital unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Susato takedown, would you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? It was a gut feeling. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Beric Van Zeeks. No. Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. I always say harbinger in my head. The Reaper of the Bailey. Yeah, well, I kicked his butt yesterday, so toodaloo to him. Lord Barrick Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Whoops. Mr. McGilded told us about him before the trial, didn't he? I mean, yeah, and we also faced him. When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. Blah! I'm going to suck your blood, and at every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned, except for yesterday. So, bam. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
Huh. And what of it?
Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Ah! Mendes McGilded came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you?
I keep on giving him like a Boston accent instead of a British one. What are you saying?
Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that? Is he saying he murdered him? Yo, he probably invited McGilded back and set his thing on fire. I mean, like, he's a vampire. I wouldn't put it past him.
Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. Okay, so that was chips. So, I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place.
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as, shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle, if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. Damn, well, this is going good. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah.
To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too.
Yeah, but they don't have anyone to defend them.
But if the man they've arrested is innocent... You could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm gonna make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes! Let's go!
I don't man. What would I do that with you, girl?
Briar Road or the prison? Should I keep going or call this an episode? You know what? We'll call an episode here because we're on such a good note. We're on such a stopping point. But I'll have a couple more episodes out this week, maybe an extra one on the weekend. I did want to say thank you guys so much for your continued support of the series, and thank you for watching. And I hope you're having a good rest of your. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night or afternoon or morning. And as always, feel free to leave a like, comment, favorite, or subscribe, whatever you guys are feeling. And until the next time, lights off. Dark out.